Hello and welcome to another episode of the In Between Podcast. Let's go ahead and get this thing started. Hello and welcome to another episode of the In Between Podcast with your host as always, Kyle McLemore. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for stopping by. And this is always my favorite part of the podcast. Right at the beginning, the first minute or two is a real make it or break it kind of moment. It's difficult because there's really no smooth transition for the beginning. There's really no jumping off point. It's just like, hey, let's start talking, which is in and of itself a bit awkward. And when you multiply that by me literally sitting here alone talking to the void, it is a bit difficult. But with the power of imagination, we continue to plow ahead. As the old in-between podcast saying goes, we're just figuring it out. We're just figuring it out as we go along. But thank you so much for tuning in. What's new with you guys? Oh, I bet you're wondering, has he been continuing his fitness journey? Has he been continuing the journey of shreddedness? That's right, call me Shredder. No, but yes, still continuing to work out. And you know what's a good motivator? I don't think motivation is, what's a good inspirational thing to watch? What's a good motivator to work out is Netflix is pumping out a bunch of early 90s, late 80s era muscle action, really taking Netflix by storm. I'm finally jumping into the Arnold pool. I'm finally jumping into the Schwarzenegger pool. That documentary or limited series, limited doc, Arnold. Finally jumping into that. And if that doesn't make you want to work out, then something's wrong with you. Because it's literally just like 12-year-old Arnold Schwarzenegger being like, yeah, I'm going to America and I'm going to take over the entire country. And I am only 13. And at 16, he's already junior Mr. Olympia or whatever. And then when they show that old footage of him just just gnarly muscle action. Yeah, but it's good. It has this very motivational, very inspiring, very. I wish I could remember when he was the governor, because I remember him being governor, but I also was not politically active. I was 13, so it's what do I care about California government? So I wish I could recall whether or not he was a good political figure. Just the abstract life story of him coming from Austria and making it to America and on his amazing journey of Mr. Olympia to Hollywood to Governor, dude. It's an insane, the greatest American tale ever. And lifetime props to Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'm going to continue. I think it's a 4-parter, 5-parter maybe, but I've only seen part 1, episode 1. But going to continue on because it's very entertaining and it's very inspirational. And Arnold is just beyond cool, dude. He's beyond cool, man. And his insane American dream story just makes him beyond even cooler. Yeah, so watching that, and if that wasn't enough to get you into that early 90s workout kind of mood, and then check out American Gladiators, another limited docu-series, whatever you want to call it. Not quite a documentary, not quite a Netflix series. It's somewhere in between, but it's also very entertaining, very early 90s awesomeness. And also very well done. The entire series is shot phenomenally, in amazing interviews, really charismatic really charismatic people like really driving the story, and then they kind of splice it in with like animation and old footage, and like it's very well done. And they do this, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen it. I mean, it's not like a crazy spoiler, but still, if you haven't seen it, spoiler alert. But there's this dude, Malibu, that's like, dude, that's like my one critique, maybe, of the entire series, is like, dude, give me more Malibu, dude. He's like the one guy that I'm like, dude, I want more of his story. He's like the only, I think it's because, as a fellow long hair, blonde California dude, that's like the one guy that I was like major connecting with. I don't think he was even from, maybe he was California, but I know for sure he was not like a surfer. He like says it himself, like, I've never been on a surfboard my entire life, but like that was just like his character, like, hey brah, it's just me gonna sit out on the beach, drink some brews, and hang out with the babes. Like, what an awesome, what an awesome gig that must have been, to just like pretend you're like this just California dude and then just like go bait the hell out of these average Joes or whatever. But it's a very well done series. But there is one part with Malibu where they're like, you want to talk about injuries? You just talked to Malibu about that time. And it's like this whole build up, the whole episode's like building to this big thing where like this guy swings and hits Malibu. So they keep showing that clip over and over, just like, and then he came with his full force, and like they keep cutting it right before he gets hit, and then every time they cut to him when he's like later, like in the present, it's always like you can tell he's like sitting down. So the whole time it's like, oh no, is he about to get paralyzed, dude? Like every older footage is him just like they're just like shooting the footage from like just right here, and you can tell it's at an angle that he's like definitely sitting in a chair. So it's like, oh no, dude, Malibu's got paralyzed. Or at least that's the heavy foreshadow that they lay down on it. But it turns out he just got massively injured. He just got a massive like concussion. It looked like he might have completely snapped his neck. The way that he flies back and like basically lands on his neck, it's like, oh my god. That was also a very very edge of your seat part of that series, is just the extreme lack of giving a fuck about any of those obstacles, dude, or any of those games, like, clearly never tested once. They were just like, yeah, just go beat the hell out of each other and we'll see what happens. Meanwhile, people are just breaking legs and like twisting gnarly joints and stuff. But it's also in that fun era of early 90s. Steroids are just rampant, dude. Which, I mean, like, at first glance, you can tell because everyone's just, like, insanely Shredsville, dude. To the mats. And it's, like, interesting because as someone who is also working on my body, who's working out, who's getting into the fitness game, who is also looking to be an American Gladiator, I've come to terms that there's certain body types that I just will probably never get like within like even a like passing like even close to. There's certain body types like The Rock or Arnold Schwarzenegger, who's like, unless I'm gonna like really just start injecting and just like taking on some gnarly supplements, probably not gonna hit that level. But, you know, there are other levels that I can aspire to. I'm talking about that Charlemagne level, that Timothée Chalamet level. I'm talking that Willy Wonka level. You guys see that new Wonka trailer? Well, first of all, before we go off on the Wonka tirade, Timothée Chalamet, what movie was it? Bones and All? Did anybody besides me see Bones and All, dude? About these like cannibal people that just eat people, bones and all. Like, it's an interesting premise, and like I remember the movie starting kind of interestingly, and I think it's based on a book. I feel like literature version is probably much more entertaining than the cinema version, but it's an interesting movie, and I feel like I'm one of the few that were lucky enough to catch it in theaters, but bones and all, there was a moment, this was like when I was like relatively unfamiliar with Mr. Chalamet. I think I'd only seen him in Don't Look Up, or maybe I saw him in Don't Look Up like right after. It was like right around the time. But anyway, it was like one of my early Timothée Chalamet impressions. And there was a scene where he like goes shirtless, and he basically just looks like a way more shredded version of my body. So I was like, oh my God, yes, Hollywood representation of a skinny dude, yeah. Something I can aspire to, because he's basically got like the same kind of lanky skinniness that I do, and the only difference is that he definitely works on his abs way more than I do, because he's like Redsville on the ab area. So I'm pretty sure if I just continue to work on the abs and pectorals, I think I could attain that Charlemagne. I could attain that level of Charlemagne. But anyway, he's the new Willy Wonka, dude. He's the new Wonk. Wonkity wonk, wonk, wonk. I don't know, man. I feel like the more I look into it, or the more I hear about it, or the more I see it, the less I'm digging it. Because I think initially, myself and everyone else just saw like a picture. He's like in the top hat, and it's like, Charlemagne as a Wonka. Okay, just a picture. Can't tell much from a picture. And then, when they threw out the trailer, first impression was like definitely not what I was expecting. I mean, I feel like, what can you really expect from a Willy Wonka movie? Expect the unexpected is the only thing to expect, but I don't know, it looked so much more musical. It looked so much more like The Greatest Showman on Earth. Whatever that Hugh Jackman, it looked like The Greatest Showman starring Willy Wonka-ish, you know what I mean? And I don't know how I feel about it, because, I mean, what do we have to go on, right? We have the original, which is like borderline untouchable, which is like, I feel like certain movies fall under the category of like, hey man, don't. Just don't. It's never going to work. And if anything, you're going up against the odds, because already people are like, nah, don't. So then, like, going up against the odds, you're really stacking the deck against yourself. There's certain movies that you just don't do it, right? How would you feel if they were like, yeah, we're remaking The Godfather? Like, just don't do it, right? Like, it's pretty close to, like, as perfect as possible. So maybe just leave it alone. Other examples, I don't know, Back to the Future. Pretty much as close to, like, a perfect movie as one can get. So maybe don't mess with it. You know what I mean? Maybe just enjoy this perfection and stop trying to squeeze every last cent out of the franchise. You know what I mean? So what do we have to go on other than the original, which is like borderline untouchably perfect? And then we have the Tim Burton, who was like the first ever, the only other interpretation that we have to go on, which I think, can we all agree that it's not good, right? I mean, if I'm being honest, it's been a while since I've seen it, and I only remember really like how I felt when I was watching it, which was not good. I remember not being too happy with it. I remember, you know what I can't remember? Anything I liked about it. I can't stand this thing where it's like, we gotta know the past, man. We gotta know. How did he become this cool, mysterious thing that we just can't get enough of? I mean, sure, the fact that we don't know is definitely part of what makes it unbelievably cool. So diving into that mystery is definitely going to shred the illusion of coolness, but sure, because we got to know, right? We got to know what was his past. Why was he like raised this way to become this weird chocolate maker? It's always like, why? Why do we have to go back and explain everything, dude? Why do we have to go back and see the origin? Because it's never good. It's never good. It never lives up. It never contributes anything. It always only ever takes away, dude. And so we have our Tim Burton, where it's like, so why? Why was he so obsessed with the chocolate? Well, duh, because his dad was a stupid dentist, right? Because he had all these, like, crazy braces. He had, like, a whole head thing. He was never allowed to have candy, and that's why he's obsessed with candy. And it's like, hey, man, you know what's lame? Everything you're doing about trying to explain and give some kind of meaning and backstory, lame. And if anything, you're splashing your lame on the original thing, man. Like, you're taking away, dude. Stop. And so this new Timothée Chalamet, it's like the same thing where it's like, here we go into the past, man. Where did he get his start? Why did he shut his factory in the beginning? Why didn't he just leave it open? Don't you want to know the mystery of his origin? And it's like, no, dude. If anything, this is just making me want to watch the Gene Wilder version, dude. Gene Wilder? How are you going to top Gene Wilder? There is no topping Gene Wilder, dude. It is impossible. It's the same reason we don't remake Pacino or De Niro or Marlon Brando, dude. It's like there's certain stuff where it's like they did it. They were the apex, the peak, the absolute 1%. Like, this is the thing. This is perfection. But we gotta know the mystery. We gotta know, why is he so weird, though? Like, what started it? But, Willy Wonka, man. Willy Wonka. And then the other movie coming out that I wanted to talk about was Killers of the Flower Moon. That's right, the new Marty Scorsese. The old Martin Scorsese. I mean, you could probably tell me, like, nothing about the movie other than directed by Martin Scorsese. Oh, I'm in. I'm good. Stop talking. Hold your breath. You got me. Okay, well, it's also got Robert De Niro and Leo DiCaprio. Okay. You got me. I'm good. You don't need to say anything more, dude. Directed by Martin Scorsese, starring Robert De Niro and Leo DiCaprio. I'm in. Enough said. Oh, but there's more. It's also based on, like, some awesome Native American true story. I'm in even more, dude. I did not think that there could be any possible way to get me more invested, but I'm even more invested now. The only thing that I'm not looking forward to is that reportedly, I looked it up, it's like 3.5 hours, dude. 3.5? Marty, what are we doing, dude? Like, are you gonna have a legitimate intermission? Because 3.5 is pushing it, dude. Do you realize that there's also like 20 solid minutes of trailers and commercials and that stupid Eminem thing before we even get to the movie? So we're looking at, like, basically 4 hours on the dot, dude. 4 hours on the dot, which is insane, which is like, my God, I'm going to have to go into that theater majorly dehydrated, dude. I'm going to have to, like, go on a strict fasting, like, the entire day. Really make sure that my body is dried out, dude, so that way I can sit there for 3.5 hours and not have to be like, oh God, this movie's great, but I gotta go. because you know your boy doesn't go on bathroom breaks, dude. I do not. I refuse. I can't even remember the last time, dude. Just the idea of standing up in a theater in the middle of a movie and like running down the steps and around the corner. Just like the idea of like everybody like looking at me as I go down the stairs is already enough to be like, nah. But no. I do not leave the theater unless it's a emergency. We're talking emergency. I think I've talked about it before, but there's only been one time that comes to mind, and that's the return of the king, which was also gotta be up there at like 3.5. Gotta be. It's also got like 17 endings, dude. I remember seeing that in theaters. And this was like back in the day when young me used to love a movie hot dog, dude. I have no idea why, but something about a movie hot dog was my jam, dude. Yes, I used to love it. Until Return of the King, dude. Return of the hot dog, dude. Vengeance of the dog. Because I remember making it like through a good amount of that movie, and then it starts bubbling, and then it starts grumbling. And I soon realized, oh no, this is turning into a emergency. This is going DEFCON 7. Only time where I'm like, no, there's just no way this is happening. No way that I'm just going to be sitting here. I can't remember when I left, but it was like I made it, dude. I made it basically to the end, but it's been a while since I've seen Return. But for sure, it ends like 20 times. Like, literally fade to black, and then we're back for more. It's like, and then he threw the ring into the fire. We did it. Yay, fade to black. But what's going on in the Shire? Like, and then we fade to black. But what's up with Sam? Didn't he get married? Let's check out with Sam. Hey, but what about Aragon? He's like king. What's up with that? Hey, and it's just like over and over. I remember being like, oh my God, is this going to end or not? And just being like, all right, well, thank you, Frodo, but I've got to go. And just like sprinting to the bathroom and doing like a flying like karate kick, just kicking open the door and just like destroying, and then like sprinting back, and like I didn't even like go back to my seat. I stood at the back of the theater, so I'm like, what's the point of me walking down and sitting down, because like it's gonna fade to black and then everyone's gonna have to stand up and just come back. So I was like, all right, I'll just watch the end from here, and then I can just walk out. And I remember standing there for like an extra 20 minutes because it kept doing like, ba-da-dun-dun, and that's the end. But what about Legolas? And it's like, dude, oh my God, fade out, fade back in, fade out, fade back in. As much as I love Lord of the Rings, I mean, like, geez, pick an ending and stick with it, Peter Jackson. But yeah, man, only time. So when you're talking this new Killers of the Flower Moon, I've got like real PTSD. That was like the feeling too with even Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer, dude. That too, 3 on the dot, 3 hours on the dot, dude. And when I saw it, they started it late. It was supposed to start at 9. They didn't start it till like 9:30, dude. So it's like, did not anticipate that. But I was also like trying to like go through my dehydration process. Like I hadn't drank anything for like a few hours before. I pissed like as many times as I could. Like I was like forcing myself, like these little like drip drops, just like get every last bit of moisture out of my body. And then basically had like a terrible fear in the back of my mind the entire movie of just like waiting, like, oh man, like any time now I'm going to have the sudden urge to pee, and I'm going to like look at my watch and still have like 3 hours to go. Oh my goodness. Like, yeah, so Oppenheimer, that was like my feeling the whole time, being nervous about having to use the restroom. So Killers of the Flower Moon, gonna really have to dehydrate myself for that one. Yeah, I don't know. It just 3.5 hours. Jeez, dude, 3.5 hours. It looks good. It looks too good is a problem. The trailer looks so good that, like, it can't possibly, like, you know what I mean? The trailer is so stylized and, like, such a banger of a trailer that it's like, oh, I know that this movie is a lot slower paced than this trailer is making it look to be. I even started, like, reading the book a little bit, and the book is a slow burner, dude, so I'm positive the movie will be the same, real slow burner, but still, it's got like everything I could ever want. Directed by Marty Scorsese, De Niro, DiCaprio, and then Native American stuff, dude. Oh, I'm in times like 1,000. But yeah, so it should be fun. Yeah, and then we're getting through the summer months here, and then speaking of other Netflix's show, you guys see that quarterback show? Oh man, that quarterback show, I've been avoiding it because of my personal PTSD from all the Patrick Mahomes games. Being in the same division as Patrick Mahomes, it gets a little bit repetitive hearing every single announcer that we play with just like, oh my God, he's the greatest. Is everyone recording this? Is everyone at home recording right now? Because this is history that we're watching. It's just like, Jesus, he's good. He is definitely good, but my God, the amount that he is just constantly blown by these announcers in every game, it's just like, bro. Oh, and that's the other thing too. Bruh. That's my impersonation of Patrick Mahomes. Bruh. Just like bruh for everything, dude. And I've noticed the increase of bruh as like a cultural slang term, dude. There was a dude, speaking of Oppenheimer, dude, there was a dude, I mean, it's, opening night, IMAX sold out, I have to sit next to a stranger, and this dude, bruh. The whole movie, dude, bruh. And just like that, too. Each bruh was like more and more somehow less enthusiastic and more drawn out and more like just like a belch almost, just like bruh, dude, like just over and over for anything, dude. This dude, it was like freaking Jack Quaid pops up, and I could tell, I was like, oh, somebody likes The Boys, because he's all like, ooh, like nudging his girlfriend, but he's like, bruh, like, just as like a recognition, like, just as like, instead of being like, oh shit, it's fucking Jack Quaid from The Boys, all that was wrapped up in a single, bruh, and then later, dude, there's like, love scene with Cillian Murphy and Midsummer, blanking on her name, but anyway, whatever. So there's like a moment where Cillian Murphy is like cross-legged in the nude, and Mr. Dude over here, bruh. So, dude, bruh. But anyway, yeah, dude, that's like my impersonation also of Patrick Mahomes, because he takes the to the next level. I mean, it's okay, yeah, okay, sure. The dude is like still young, he's like, bruh. Now it's starting to get me too. No, I can't help it, bruh. He's like 30, no, he's not 30, fuck that shit. He's like 25. He's like 25, 26, so hella young. So it's like, yeah, of course, he's going to be totally up on the new slang, dude, but he takes the bruh to the next level, dude. He's just like bruh for everything, man. Like, Bruh, you see that pass? Bruh, what you talking about that turkey sandwich? Bruh, you call that a touchdown? Bruh. And it's like, oh man, I'm telling you, each bruh gets more and more drawn out every time until it's just like, bruh. Bruh. That's got to be really annoying on the headphones, so I apologize. But bruh. Bruh. Anyway, that quarterback show is a banger, bruh. It's a banger, dude, and it's like right on time because football is like finally within sight. Like I can get my knots and be like, oh, dude, I see it. Football's coming, baby. It's right there. Get my telescope. That's right. Football's on the way. Within reach, finally. But this quarterback show is a banger because, I mean, you take NFL footage and you remix it with dramatic music and slow motion and you have a certified hit, dude. You've got a banger, dude, because man, that used to be the only Showtime has nothing, dude. Showtime has nothing. What does Showtime have? Dexter, like at one point they had Dexter. Showtime ain't shit, bro. But you know what they've always had? Inside the NFL. And Inside the NFL is so freaking good, bruh, that like it's worth subscribing to whatever stupid price that Showtime has. Even though they literally have nothing else to offer me, it is still almost totally worth it because Inside the NFL is so freaking good, dude. And that's like the same vibe with the quarterback show, because it's just like, dude, you just show slow motion football footage over some epic cinema level music and you've got the greatest footage ever, dude. So again, I've only seen like maybe the first episode, but it's really good and it gets you in the mood for football, dude, and I can't wait. I have been loving how kind of like quiet the Broncos have been. Last big news was just the Sean Payton thing, so definitely got a pretty awesome head coach now that'll definitely probably help our awesome quarterback. And again, trying to keep my hopes low, trying to keep them at bay for now, because I still feel that we're in the building era, right? Like we just barely got these new ingredients to the formula, so I still feel it's like a work in progress, but I'm still very hopeful for the new season. Still very much, still very much looking forward to it. But still have a little, I mean, it always starts like mid-August or early August for the preseason, so we're like right on the cusp. I really got to start getting more NFL games in. LA Stadium is pretty cool. Vegas Stadium is amazing, dude. Oh man, Bruce Buffer, dude. 2 words, Bruce Buffer, dude, is amazing. And having him announce your team, there's nothing that's going to fire anybody up more than Bruce Buffer. Yeah, but football season coming up. There was other stuff I wanted to talk about, but we can save it because we're starting to get past the minimum time here. So thank you so much for stopping by. We can go ahead and wrap it and slap it right there. If you haven't already, it's time to do the old like and subscribe, because it's right there and it's much appreciated. And hey, maybe you don't like this face of mine, but you still like listening. Well, in that case, be sure to follow us over on Spotify or wherever you get your audio to listen to these podcasts, because it's much appreciated. Go ahead and hit a like, hit a subscribe, hit a download. Tell a friend, tell a family member. Bruh. I am your host, as always, Kyle McLemore, and we'll see you next time on the pod. Bruh.